Hi, today I'll be discussing a theory for the class Sociology of Deviance. The theory I'll be discussing is Marxist theory. Marxist theory originates from Marxism, which is an economic and social system based upon the political and economic theories of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Marx was a German philosopher, economist, political theorist, sociologist, journalist, and socialist. In collaboration with Engels, who was also a German philosopher and journalist, they developed Marxism in the mid to late 1800s. However, these ideas were not popularized and accepted as a global theory until the 1980s. It is important to understand a bit about Marxism because most of the ideas of the Marxist theory and sociology are borrowed from it. Marxism can be defined as a theory in which class struggle is a central element in the analysis of social change in Western societies. Marxism is the antithesis of capitalism, which is defined as an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and distribution of goods, characterized by a free competitive market and motivation by profit. Marxism is the system of socialism, in which the dominant feature is public ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange. So now that we know some of these definitions and a bit about the origins of Marxism, we can dive into how it connects with the sociology theory. Some of the major tenets of Marxist theory deal with power structures, such as how the powerful define and control the powerless and deviance. Capitalism and class, in terms of how these things play a major role in society, and coercive control, which is how the capitalist system controls the middle and lower class. This is interesting and different from other theories because it deals with the root causes of deviance. The question of causality is important, and Marxists believe the root cause of deviance can be traced to the exploitative nature of capitalism. Because capitalism wants the maximum profits with the least amount of cost, it results in things like automation and job outsourcing to poor countries. This leads to putting some of the existing labor force out of a job or making it harder to get jobs, resulting in a marginal surplus population. This is a larger amount of people who are unemployed or not making enough money to support themselves, so their inability to maintain decent living conditions pressures them to commit crimes. The theory believes that capitalism causes property crimes, like robbery and theft, personal crimes like assault, rape, and murder, and other deviousness such as alcoholism, suicide, and mental illness in lower class and unemployed people. This correlation is made because people's low economic status can lead them to feel a sense of powerlessness, alienation, and lack of self-esteem. Essentially, capitalism pressures these people into committing crimes by making them poor in the first place. Finally, coercive control is another main idea of Marxism because, in addition to poverty, the threat from employers and bosses for their employees to work hard or else they will be fired is problematic because threatening to fire or actually firing poor workers if they don't work hard enough can feed a sense of resentment and alienation that can lead them to engage in criminal activities and deviance. This theory can also extend to higher classes when it comes to corporate crimes, because the same capitalist system can be seen as a root cause. Capitalism leads to powerful monopolies in the economy, and these economic characteristics can be seen as a root cause of corporate crimes because they are so money and profit driven. This theory has mainly been tested on the lower class. Because the capitalist system Marxism sees as the root cause of most societal crimes, puts this group at the bottom of society, and as our book discusses, the majority of deviances and criminal activity comes from the lower class. An interesting application and extension of that idea would be looking to our criminal justice system. Since most crimes come from the lower class, we can see how our criminal justice system is not only filled with mostly lower class people, but also how it seems to favor and let off upper class criminals more easily. A good example would be in the case known as the Central Park Five, where 5 lower class young Hispanic and African American men were wrongly accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. They were convicted and imprisoned for anywhere from 2 to 10 years. On the other hand, in the recent case of Brock Turner, a wealthy young white man who was accused of raping a woman, the same crime, on his college campus, he was let off with a mere 6 months, even reduced to 3 for good behavior. Another application would be comparisons of the US to other countries with more socialist-leaning public policies. It is no doubt the US has the highest population of incarcerated people and criminals, which are mostly lower class, whereas in other countries like Germany, Japan, and Canada, there are significantly less crimes in general, as well as less incarcerated people. Perhaps the correlation can be made that the US capitalist system plays a part in why we're such an outlier in the developed world when it comes to criminal deviance. A critique of Marxist theory is that it's too general and doesn't consider specifics of crimes as much. However, other critiques rely more on the belief that the capitalist system itself cannot be to blame, because capitalism is a fair and beneficial system that gives everyone the opportunities to succeed and make money if they just work hard enough. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new.